Well, year two kicks off for President Trump. The president ended the year on an incredibly high note, economically speaking, signing the most sweeping tax reform bill in a generation into law. What can we expect in the second year of the Trump administration, and how does that impact our lives? Joining us now is Byron Wien. He is the Blackstone Group's private wealth vice chairman, and Mitch Roschelle, a partner at PWC. Gentlemen, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And of course, this tax reform package, one of the big stories of the year and of last year. Byron, we want to kick it off with you because you've got your 10 surprises that you've come out with every year. For how many years now?
33.
33 years. All right. Give us, we've got your 10 surprises. What strikes you as most important in terms of the 10 surprises? Where should we focus? Where should we begin?
Well, this economy has gone on now in the bull market. They've gone on for almost 9 years. And my view is it isn't over yet. Most people feel anything this long on the tooth has to run out of gas. I do think the market is vulnerable to a 10% correction somewhere along the line, maybe more than that, maybe 15%. But I think it's a correction, not a bear market.
So a correction is coming at some point.
Right. But I think we're a year away, or maybe more, but at least a year away from the next serious downturn and the next recession.
Yeah, and in fact, your number 3 surprise is the dollar finally comes to life. Real growth exceeds 3% in the U.S., which, coupled with the implementation of some components of the Trump pro-business agenda, renews investor interest in owning dollar-denominated assets. You think the dollar's strong?
Well, that would be a surprise, you know.
That would be a surprise.
But I think that that's a likelihood this year.
Mitch, let's talk taxes for a moment here. The tax package was obviously well anticipated. People were making changes ahead of it. We want to know what we need to do to best capitalize on this new tax law.
Individuals or corporations?
Let's start with individuals.
Individuals, the rates are down at the top end, and at the lower end they're down considerably. What would be really interesting is to figure out how the whole pass-through thing works, okay? Because A, the rules are complicated, but there are so many individuals who operate some form of a business. Even in addition to having a job, they have something on the side. And you can really get a bang for the buck if you're organized as a pass-through entity, whether it be a partnership, an LLC, or even as a sole proprietor.
Because if you are in the highest income bracket, you're paying 37%. But if you're a pass-through...
Right, that income gets a 20% haircut right off the top.
Right, because you got that 20% deduction as a pass-through. Right. But there are guardrails in place to make sure you don't cheat here.
There are pages and pages of guardrails in the 500 pages of law.
You have to actually be a business.
You have to be a business, and what they don't want is they don't want somebody who really has wage and tries to find a clever way to recharacterize that as pass-through income. So that's what the guardrails are for. But a lot of people are operating blind right now because they're in service businesses and they can't figure out how the rules are written, whether or not the benefit applies to them.
Byron, it's an important year. We got the midterm elections coming up, and your number 9 surprise is the Republicans lose control of both the Senate and the House in the November election.
Right. Almost, there are a number of people who think the Democrats have a good chance of taking the House, but almost nobody thinks the Democrats have a chance to take the Senate. And I would say if the election were held tomorrow, that probably would be the case. The Democrats wouldn't take the Senate. But I think there will be events during the year, the Mueller investigation and other things, that will cause the Democrats to gain some additional momentum. And they don't need much. They just need to pick up 2 seats.
Yeah, you also think, and even though the economy is getting better.
Yeah, no, look, Trump has everything going for him. I mean, you know, you could argue that Trump has been a terrific president. I mean, Obama struggled for 8 years to get the economy growing at 2%. He's got it growing at 3%.
Yeah.
You know, unemployment at an all-time low, lowering taxes, reducing regulation. He could argue that his first year has been a triumph.
Mitch, real quick on this tax story, what other implications do you see? You and I have spoken in the past about the potential of an exodus of people out of high tax states like New York. It's going to pressure real estate.
Yeah, you're definitely going to see that. There's been some studies that have come out that talk about home prices going down. But I do think you're going to see the continuation of the movement out of the New Yorks and New Jerseys, the Californias, into low-tax states. When you lose the benefit of deducting your state and local taxes, people are going to start making housing decisions and job decisions around where they're more tax efficient.
Byron Wien, Mitch Roschelle, great to see you both.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.